They buried their baby girl 23 years ago.
It's like we lost her again.
But the cemetery has been holding a secret.
Unheard of for, I guess, things like this to happen.
They physically wanted their daughter's remains so they can cremate her, but when it was time to dig, the cemetery said there was nothing there.
The cemetery would have us believe that everything that was buried in that casket has returned to the earth.
Where could baby Jada's remains be?
It baffles me.
And what we found out when we drove to Augusta, Georgia to dig through the cemetery records. I'm Justin Carter. This is TSR Investigates. Years ago, Fatima, Nettles and Kamaron Hickman, they got the worst news. They were serving overseas in Germany in the military when they got a phone call from one of the caretakers on base that something bad had happened to their 6-month-old daughter, Jada. They immediately raced over, but it was too late. Jada was dead. The military investigated and determined that it was sudden infant death syndrome, also known as SIDS. They flew back to Augusta, Georgia, where the paternal family lived, and buried her at Hillcrest Memorial Park Cemetery. That was in 2001. Last year, though, they decided they wanted to cremate her, but they can't now because suddenly the cemetery doesn't know where her casket is. And even worse, one employee told them that she became one with the earth.
We bought 3 plots in this area. She was supposed to be buried in the middle one.
This video went viral on social media. Kamaron Hickman detailing what happened here at Hillcrest Memorial Park Cemetery, the exact spot his daughter Jada was buried in March 2001.
The cemetery would have us believe that because it's been 20 years, it happens that everything that was buried in that casket has returned to the earth. That doesn't make sense to me.
I've visited that gravesite, numerous times over the year.
He says over the years, he always felt something was off.
Like one time I remember going out there over the years and there was so much grass that I couldn't find the headstone at all.
Hickman says September 2023, he and his now ex-wife, Fatima Nettles, made a decision.
Since then, we've had losses in family. We've cremated them. So I said, Kamaron, would you mind if we exhume Jada's body, have her cremated?
They no longer have immediate ties to Augusta and wanted to have her remains closer. They went through the hurdles, contacted the mayor's office, completed the necessary paperwork, and on September 21st, 2023, they got their wish. It was exhumation day. But they got a call from staff saying they couldn't find Jada's casket.
He said, well, because we didn't exhume anything, we don't need to send you any paperwork. And I said, well, you need to tell me the result of it, something. So he said, let me get with the corporate company. He says, did you see her get lowered in the ground? Then he said, do you remember what casket? So I immediately say, well, I don't remember what casket. However, Williams Funeral Home should have that paperwork. And he says they don't have any record of it.
She got this email. It says, quote, as we discussed with you, we apologize that due to the passage of time, we were unable to remove the remains of your daughter.
Because it's like we lost her again.
What do you remember from that day specifically? Do you remember the clothes that she was wearing? Do you remember the casket color?
We had a procession that took us to Hillcrest Memorial and we had our daughter lowered into the ground. Like, we remember that. I know she was in she had like this white dress on and she had a white bonnet around her head. So she was in all white.
And that's when we started asking questions. Hillcrest Memorial Park sent us a statement saying, quote, we have an obligation of privacy to the families we are honored to serve. And as a result, we are unable to discuss this matter with the media. While we did not acquire the cemetery until 2006, we have been and remain committed to working closely with the family to find a resolution, end quote. Nettles says, though, one of those resolutions felt like a slap in the face.
They said to me that because we weren't able to recover remains, we can put some dirt from where she was supposed to be in an urn for you. And I felt insulted.
The Shade Room didn't stop there. On a quest to figure out who owned Hillcrest Memorial Cemetery when baby Jada was buried in 2001, we did a property search, but the records only go back to 2002. The Richmond County Clerk of Courts is the only entity that has the property records prior to that. So I drove to Augusta myself. So we just got here to the Augusta Richmond County Judicial Building. Let's see what we can find out about the Hillcrest Memorial Park Cemetery. I'm back in the car. I just got my hand on some of the paperwork here, and according to this deed, the Travis Land Company Real Estate Trust owned the Hillcrest Memorial Park from 1984 into the 90s into the early 2000s before selling it in 2002. I see a couple names here. There are some witnesses, trust officers. I did some Googling. I looked through some more documents, and none of these people are anywhere to be found.
Baffles me.
Tiara Atkins is a mortuary science expert with years of experience in funeral homes and cemeteries. Is there any wrongdoing if, a body or a casket is moved without alerting the family?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you can get sued for that. You have to make the families aware. You have to. There's no way around it.
And for families, she says, there are several things to remember when you do bury your loved one. The first, keep your paperwork.
You definitely need a burial permit. You need a receipt from the cemetery stating, that you paid for this specific plot in this specific location, a burial deed if you paid for the plot in advance. On the burial deed, it tells you exactly where you'll be located, the grave marker, the grave number, and the location site. And I strongly encourage people to stay and watch their loved one get buried until the dirt is on top of them. I encourage you to do that.
Atkins says, as a general note, it's also not uncommon for cemetery management to illegally move a casket to either make more money and clear space for more bodies.
And if they notice that you're not coming to visit your loved one, they take it as, hey, we could dig this person up and move them and resell this plot. But it's a moneymaker.
And I just think that's terrible.
The family says they have alerted police about this and did file a police report and do plan to take legal action in a quest to figure out what really happened to their daughter. We also got a statement from the mayor's office in Augusta, Garnett Johnson. It says in part, quote, that in August 2023, the office of Mayor Garnett L. Johnson was contacted by the family. The office of the mayor referred the family to the proper parties to acquire permitting for the disinterment. We were later informed that no remains were found during the disinterment. At that time, we referred the family to the coroner's office. The cemetery is owned by a private entity and is outside the jurisdiction of the office of the mayor. Now, the Shade Room also reached out to Williams Funeral Home in Augusta, who handled the service. We reached out to them for a comment. We're still waiting to hear back. For TSR Investigates, I'm Justin Carter. Hello, roommates, and thank you for watching our YouTube channel. Do you want more TSR Investigates? Be sure to subscribe and check us out at theshaderoom.com.